Greetings, fellow adventurers, and welcome back. Today we embark on an adventure into the lush world of Resto Druid healing in Phase 2 of Season of Discovery. Whether you're a seasoned healer or just sprouting your healing branches, this guide will help you flourish in your role as a Resto Druid. I'm Kurrama, and in today's video we'll be exploring several critical aspects of Resto Druid healing. We'll talk about talents and runes, effective healing rotations, and effective mana replenishment. I'm not going to be covering gear since Wowhead does such a great job telling you what pieces you should be chasing. If you want me to, please ask for it in the comments. In addition, if you have any other questions, comments, concerns, or just want to yell at me for being a boomer and playing with the standard UI, hit up those comments. I'll try to answer them all. If you like the content, please follow and subscribe and let me know what Druid content you would like me to discuss next. Druids may be considered the jack of all trades and the master of none in Classic, but I've set out to show everyone Druids have a strong place in the lineup. This video will have timestamps and a TLDR section at the end, so if you hate everything about me and want all the content within a quick minute, skip to that section. Alright, first up on the agenda is Druid talents and runes. I'll be discussing the main build that most Druids are utilizing. If you wish for me to discuss other builds, mention it in the comments and I'll cover those in a future video. Let's start with runes. For your waist, you're going to want to choose Nourish. For your feet, you want to choose Dream State. For your chest, you want Fury of Storm Rage. For your legs, you want Life Bloom. And gloves, you want Wild Growth. In addition, don't forget that these passive runes that you see on screen can drop in any Phase 2 dungeons from bosses and rare spawns. For your talents, I put 5 points into the balance tree and 26 into the restoration tree. I will refer to this build as the Wrath build. So the first 5 points in the balance tree, you're going to put into Improved Wrath, which will reduce your cast time of Wrath by 0.5 seconds. This pairs extremely well with two of our runes. The first rune, Fury of Storm Rage for your chest piece, which makes Wrath cost no mana and a chance to proc an instant cast Healing Touch or Nourish. The second rune is Dream State on your boots, which makes it so when you critically hit with all damaging spells, probably Wrath, it will grant you 50% of your mana regeneration while casting. Listen guys, I hate when games force you to DPS when your role is a healer, but we're here. Since your Wrath is free, it is crucial to have in your rotation to help mana regen with the Dream State rune. The remaining points will go into the restoration tree. I put 5 points into Improved Mark, 5 points into Improved Healing Touch to give a 0.5 second quicker cast of both Healing Touch and Nourish, since Nourish benefits from all Healing Touch related skills. Then 3 points in Reflection to help mana regen, 1 point in Insect Swarm for a helpful debuff on the boss. To advance further, you need to put 1 point in either Furor, Improved Rage, Nature's Focus. I would not advise one into Subtlety because I think it's absolutely useless. After you choose where to allocate that 1 point, put 5 points into Tranquil Spirit to reduce the mana cost of Healing Touch and Nourish by 10%. Grab Nature's Swiftness for any oh shit situation, and last 5 points in Gift of Nature to increase healing from all spells by 10%. From what I've seen, this is the build that majority of raiding Resto Druids are going. Next up, we'll shift into aquatic form and dive into the heart of the matter, the healing rotation for the Wrath build. Understanding the optimal sequence of spells and abilities is key to maximizing your healing potential. From nourishing your allies with hots to wielding the power of Nature's Wrath in dire situations, we'll cover it all. In this build, you should be casting Wrath when not healing, due to the Dream State rune and the mana regeneration that you get. Don't be afraid to cast a rank 1 Wrath for the quicker cast time. You'll get critical strikes more quickly, and let's be real, Wrathing is not going to make or break the fight with its DPS. Currently, there are only 3 mana efficient heals that you want to prioritize. The two that don't see action are regrowth and rejuvenation. Regrowth can be viable if you're doing a living seed slash regrowth spec build, but it's not optimal. Life Bloom, Wild Growth, and Nourish are your best friends currently in Phase 2. And, of course, your Nature Swiftness and Healing Touch moment when the tank is in desperate need. So let's explore when each one should be used. To begin with, I highly, highly recommend that you set up your raid frames to display group members together, specifically because of the first heal of discussion today, Wild Growth. Wild Growth should only be used if 3 or more party members drop below roughly 80% health. Note that I said party, because it will not hit other raid members from a different party. It is also not mana efficient if you have less than 3 party members take damage, or if their health is higher than 80%, because most of it will just overheal. A little pro tip, the way Wild Growth currently works is it hits everyone and pet in the party. At least from what I can tell, it hits all the pets in the party as well, if they are in range. In addition, make sure you have all members of the raid under the same flag for PvP. Wild Growth will not cast on everybody if some members are flagged and some members aren't flagged. It's technically not a bug, but its purpose is so you don't accidentally heal a flagged person out in the world and get marked for PvP. The next heal on the list is Life Bloom. You should always keep Life Bloom on the tank when you can. To do this the most mana effective way is cast 1 Life Bloom on the tank and let it heal as much as it can before it blooms and cast another one. This effect stacks up to 3 times. Once you have 3 stacks on the tank, let it bloom. This will be the most mana efficient for you. Obviously, it will be situational if you should keep it on the tank or let it bloom. In addition, I like to use Life Bloom on other raid members that are at or above 65% of their health and are in no real danger of taking burst damage. If you are 2 healing, this will probably overheal since the other healer will bring the target up to full before the Life Blooms bloom. If 2 healing, I would just advise using a quick Nourish, which is our next heal of topic. It is important to note Nourish benefits all the talents associated with Healing Touch. In the Resto tree, this includes Improved Healing Touch, which reduces the cast time up to 0.5 seconds, and Tranquil Spirit, which reduces the mana cost up to 10%. Nourish also heals an additional 20% for each hot that is on the target. This is an excellent move for tank healing or a quick flash heal on a raid member. In solo healing situations, it's crucial to have Life Bloom and Nourish working together on the tank. Lastly, Rejuvenation and Regrowth can be used, but for me personally, I hardly touch them in their current state. Guys, there's a lot of math equations out there for Resto Druids that will just show you that these 2 heals are not mana efficient at the moment in Phase 2. That being said, there's no true issue with using them, and they can still be viable. For example, Rejuvenation would be an excellent way to get an additional 20% heal from Nourish. Regrowth does have a niche build currently with Improved Regrowth and Living Seed, the Living Seed rune. Don't let me shitting on them right now prevent you from using them if it works for you. Guys, I forgot to mention something real quick about Healing Touch in my original script, so just adding this in real quick. Healing Touch you never want to cast. The only time you're going to use it is a Nature Swiftness and oh shit heal, maybe on a tank or a DPS that's at 5-10%. In this next part, I'll share a tip any healer can benefit from. While mastering your healing rotation is crucial, managing your mana regeneration is equally essential. I'm what you call a super aggressive healer, which means my mana management sucks. To compensate, I prioritize anything that can replenish my mana pool and integrate it into my rotation. Where healers often stumble is in waiting too long or resorting to panic consumption of mana potions or other regenerative tools as a last resort. Currently, I rely on using the best mana potions available and those irradiated alchemy pots, which have a separate cooldown from a regular mana pot and provide a modest amount of mana. I'm told these potions share the same cooldown as the demonic runes, so next phase they will be no longer viable. Additionally, I utilize tools like Innervate and the Trinket with the cooldown that replenishes my mana when activated. My strategy behind this typically involves popping mana potions when I'm around between 60 to 70% mana, aiming to bring me back up to 90 to 100%. If I find myself dipping to 25 to 35% mana and my potions are still on cooldown, I'll use an Innervate on myself to give myself a substantial boost, usually restoring me back up to 85% to 100% mana, depending on the situation. By the time my mana reserves hit 50%, my pots will be off cooldown and ready to use again. Mastering this rotation is particularly beneficial in longer fights where mana conservation becomes crucial for sustained healing. Of course, if you're a speed running this is all irrelevant. After all, bosses tend to disappear quicker than a murloc at low tide. I have saved this part for last so we could get to the core content quicker. But why listen to me, Kurrama, you might ask? Well, I've been tending to not just one, but many Resto Druids for nearly half my life. In this phase, you can see on screen, my parse rankings proudly display me as the #1 Druid and the top 10 healer in the world. Let me make one thing clear. I don't chase parses through gimmicks or ask my DPS to dance in fire. These are all natural runs, and you can catch me live streaming them at twitch.tv/Kurrama. If you listen to the whole video, I appreciate you and your time. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions, comments, or concerns. Now you have reached the TLDR section, probably because you didn't like me, or 2, you didn't want to listen to my ad about Raid Shadow Legends. Just kidding. Topics I'm going to quickly cover: talents, runes, rotation, and strategized mana regen. Point 1. Talents. 5 in the balance tree and the rest in the restoration tree. Pick the talents that you see on the screen here. Point 2. For runes, you want the following: Waste, Nourish; Feet, Dream State; Chest, Fury of Storm Rage; Legs, Life Bloom; Gloves, Wild Growth. Point 3. Rotation and heals to cast. Life Bloom on targets 65% or higher and slowly stack them on the tank and let bloom. Nourish. Use as your flash heal and gets 20% bonus healing for each hot on the target. Wild Growth. Use when 3 or more members in party take 20% or more damage and will heal all players and pets in the party you cast it on. Healing Touch. Never cast it, only use it with Nature's Swiftness for an instant cast oh shit moment. I advise not to use Rejuvenation and Regrowth as mana efficiency and throughput just aren't quite there for this phase. Point 4. Last point is strategically plan and use all your mana regenerative abilities and potions in a rotation and not as a last resort to get the most mana back. Now you pro, go heal. Thanks for watching.